This story is an allegory that uses Animal Farm as a substitute for Russia before, during and after the Russian Revolution. The focus of the story is the way in which the original aims of the revolution, equality and fairness for all, are twisted and rewritten to allow Napoleon, representing Stalin, to become a tyrannical dictator. In Chapter 1, the farm animals listen to Old Major's dream. As he expects to die soon, he wants them to know that the source of their misery is humanity. Only when animals rule themselves will they be truly free. And he then gives them a series of broad rules to live by and says all animals are equal. The questions to have in mind here are, what does equality mean in practice? And if humans are removed, will cruelty, tyranny and exploitation really disappear? In Chapter 2, Old Major dies, and when Farmer Jones fails to feed the animals, they break into the food stall, a fight breaks out, and Jones is driven from the farm. It then emerges that 3 of the pigs, Napoleon, Snowball and Squealer, have taught themselves to read and write, and have converted Old Major's thoughts into a complete system of thought called animalism. They announce that there will be 7 commandments. Note that 2 are categories, friends and enemies. 4 are things the animals cannot do, and 1 is a broad generalization. In Chapter 3, the animals are blissfully happy, but what they don't realize is that a new hierarchy is developing. They have public meetings and they have a vote, but only the pigs put forward the ideas to be voted on. Most of the animals can't read, so the 7 commandments are reduced to a single slogan: 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. And we note already that Napoleon and Snowball never agree, and that Napoleon takes away 9 puppies, supposedly for their education. Food was being shared equally at this point, but we learn that the pigs have secretly been taking all the milk and are now going to take all the apples. They need them to stay healthy so they can run the farm properly, or so they say. In Chapter 4, Jones then decides to try and take back the farm, but Snowball is prepared. He leads the resistance and drives out Jones. When Boxer thinks he's killed a human in the fight, Snowball is unsentimental, saying, "The only good human is a dead one." At this point, Snowball and Boxer are given medals for bravery. The public meetings continue, and Snowball is the star performer, winning the animals to his point of view with some brilliant speeches. But note that Napoleon is better at organising. The sheep now drown out Snowball's speeches by bleating, 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. And this is almost certainly Napoleon's plan. Then when Snowball wants to build a windmill, Napoleon objects. But when Snowball convinces the animals to build it, Napoleon sets the dogs on him, and they chase Snowball from the farm. Note that Napoleon then cancels all future meetings and says all decisions will now be taken by the pigs. Squealer says this is just in case the animals make the wrong decision. Now with Snowball gone, Napoleon now decides that building a windmill is a good idea and that it was his idea all along. The revolution was about freedom from slavery, but now the animals work like slaves. Even so, there are food shortages, and so Napoleon decides to trade with humans. Then the pigs move into the farmhouse, saying they need peace and quiet to work. Now when Muriel the goat checks the 4th commandment, she discovers that it now reads slightly differently. No animal shall sleep in a bed with sheets. Shortly after this, a great storm blows down the windmill, and Napoleon takes the opportunity to blame Snowball. Now the 2nd commandment says, whatever goes upon 4 legs or has wings is a friend. But now Snowball is called an enemy. In Chapter 7, Napoleon decides to sell the eggs to the humans to raise money. The hens are furious and smash the eggs rather than sell them. Napoleon retaliates by starving the hens and threatens the other animals with death if they give them any food. The hens are ultimately defeated, and at a meeting, 4 pigs are then dragged to the front, accused of being Snowball's spies, and killed. Other animals then confess to being spies and are also killed, although none of them were guilty of anything. A few days later, the animals check the 6th commandment: no animal shall kill any other animal. It has also been changed to read, no animal shall kill any other animal without cause. Then a human farmer, Frederick, representing Nazi Germany, attacks the farm. He's driven off, but the windmill is destroyed. And a few days later, the pigs get drunk. And shortly after this, the animals notice that the 5th commandment now reads, no animal shall drink alcohol to excess. Now the animals' rations are reduced, except for those, of course, of the pigs and the dogs. Then the pigs take all of the barley, which they are secretly using to make beer. Animal Farm is then declared a republic, and an election is held to elect a president. But Napoleon is the only candidate. Boxer has been ill through overwork and now collapses again. And Napoleon says he will be treated at a hospital. But the lorry that collects him seems to belong to a slaughterhouse. And 3 days later, the pigs announce that sadly, Boxer died in hospital. This, of course, is another lie, because shortly after, the pigs mysteriously find money to buy whiskey and get drunk again. They have clearly bought it with money raised from selling Boxer's body to the slaughterhouse. Years now pass by, and virtually no animal can remember life before the rebellion. Now, not only do the animals not get any benefits from their work, but they're now told that the greatest happiness lies in working hard and living without luxuries. Needless to say, this rule does not apply to the pigs. But despite the difficulties, the animals believe they're better off, because they all walk on 4 legs and run their own farm, until they see Napoleon and the other pigs walking on 2 legs. And now the sheep start bleating, 4 legs good, 2 legs better. And when the animals go back into the barn, there's now only a single commandment remaining. All animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. So it was no surprise when Napoleon began to wear Mr. Jones's clothes and smoke a pipe, or when humans came to visit the farm and sat around the dinner table with the pigs. And in fact, when the other animals looked through the windows of the farmhouse, they could barely work out which were the pigs and which were the humans. In summary, this book shows what happens when we allow others to define the rules by which we live. They gather more and more power to themselves, and then they rewrite the rules to suit themselves. And as we look around the world today, it would appear to be a story with continuing relevance to us all.